Back in March, I booked a trip to Ecuador with Ecuador Freedom Bike Rental after I had done a motorcycle ride in South Florida. That was probably one of the worst rides I've ever done. And we booked this ride down here in Ecuador called Cloud Forest Coast and Craters. It was a self-guided tour and more of a dual sport ride. And it was really quite a ride. I'm narrating this video because I tried using the microphone, but in the rain, the microphone quit working. Anyway, leaving Quito, right here, you have a lot of anticipation. You have quite a bit of traffic to deal with. It doesn't really show it, but it works good. But I want to get out of the city, and I just pressed on and got out. Once I got out here into the country, you feel so free that you pick up the pace and you're flying down these roads. They're not in perfect condition, but they're pretty nice, and they're fairly windy at this point, and they're very enjoyable to ride on. I bypassed the tourist traps on the way out of town. The equator with the big rock pillar. We drove by it, but I didn't want to stop. Too many tourists. Went through a couple towns and just wanted to get out into the country and get away from everybody. That's what we did. And as you can see, we went flying down the road and nice cornering. The bike was very well set up by Ecuador Freedom Bike Rental. It was a brand new BMW F850 with Continental tires, the TKC 70 tires, brand new. And I think it was Moscow soft luggage with a hard box on the back for security. And my wife in the back. We set the bike up for two-up riding. And you have different modes: dynamic, enduro, rain. I used the rain. I used the enduro. But we just went flying down these roads here, getting out of town and getting into the countryside. People drive here pretty well. You can really deal well with the traffic and with the trucks and buses. Everybody's very courteous. There's no beeping in anger. So everybody tries to get along. No one wants to have an accident because you don't want to deal with the police. Here is the first signs of dealing with mudslides and rock slides. That I said, oh, you will have this to deal with as we get deep in the mountains. And we did. And it's all doable. At one point we had to get around some barricades. So here's our first stop, looking at a sunken crater. Having a quick break with a cup of coffee, cappuccino. There's the bike, heavily loaded. There's those TKC 70 tires. Man, I can't speak highly enough of them. Continental really has it together. I road raced on Continental tires in the late 70s, early 80s, and they really got it together. They have their top engineers. Motorcycle tire department. Rubber is second to none. The brake grip is outstanding. Can't say enough about their tires. Here's our first dirt road, and once again the bike and the tires were outstanding. The motorcycle is pretty nice. It has a little bit of a rattly engine. First gear was way too tall, but otherwise the fuel injection was spot on even at high altitudes. And the rain didn't matter. The fuel injection was just perfect. The shifting was good. It has that quick shift or whatever. That doesn't matter. You don't have to have it. The suspension was great. They talk about the forks diving. I mean, that's the way I ride. I get hard on the front brake, and I like to have a fork dive to load the front tire. You know how much pressure you have on it. And we needed the brakes. The brakes were good, and we needed them on this 7-day ride. This is just day one here. And this is the first dirt road climbing up into a cloud forest. Pretty nice. Getting used to it. Hardly anybody around. You don't see anybody. And the GPS is well programmed. Here you know, self-guided, so you just press day one and you got the routes. They have alternates in the computer too if you don't want to go down a certain dirt road or something. You have alternate ways around. But we just kept climbing the altitude here. And you can tell the bike loses some power as you get up to 8,000 to 9,000 feet. And you're dealing in the 12 to up to 14.5, I think, feet in altitude. You get up pretty high in Ecuador. And this was day one here. And I'll do 2 or 3, you know, I'm going to go through the whole 7-day trip as I have time to make these videos. I'm no professional with videos, that's why I'm narrating it. Here's the stop, way up in the mountains. It's a hummingbird place where there's a lot of hummingbird people come. And the Americans are pretty snobby. No one was inside this place. There's a couple young kids in there that want to serve coffee and something to eat. So we went in there and had some more coffee. It was raining when we got here. And we moved on. Here we finally made it to the cloud forest hostel. And it was a long, like a driveway, but it was a few miles long. A little bit of road after the hummingbirds to get to this point. The dirt roads and back to this part of the ride. For a long ways, you didn't think after seeing the sign it would be so far, but it was. It was awesome. And you're in this cloud forest. It's like a jungle at altitude. It's really awesome. We just kept plugging away and saying, wow, where is this place? You know, the GPS said we're on course. We go through a set of gates, we'll look around and say, keep going. And it's pretty exciting. Our first night, you know, of course you have the anticipation. We were well prepared to have to deal with the rain. We had climb gear. I had top of the line gear. My wife had just about top of the line gear. But sitting on the back, she was really dry and fine. It was really good. So if you're well prepared, you don't have any issues with the weather. At sea level, it's hot. Up at altitude, you know, of course it gets cold. You deal with some cold rain and all, but hey, it's all fine. We're on vacation. Here's the cloud forest hostel. I can't the name of it. My wife can tell me.
It was our first night.
Unbelievable.
Staying day one.
Pulling up to this place. It seems to be old, but very well kept, clean, and they gave us an unbelievable room that I wasn't even sure we're going into the right area. Everybody was very friendly. You know, you tip these people a little bit. You tip all the workers a little bit. They take care of you. You know, it's a developing country. And I like to tip them, and everybody's smiling, happy.
Yep.
And we got the room. There's a lot of these rooms for like the bird watchers.
Cloud forest, I think we are.
And they're just real small little rooms, like an 8 by 10 or 6 by 8. But our keys said, keep going. We kept going past all these little rooms. Shit, wonder where we're going. And my wife said, look what we got. And we went through the no trespassing area, no entry. Keep going. We had, I call it the captain's quarters.
We have the captain's quarters.
It was beautiful, full of antiques.
Hello.
My gosh.
Sheila.
Can't beat it.
Oh, hello. Hi.
This is the captain's quarters.
Same went for the meals here. They have these walking paths that are long through the cloud forest, and we took some hikes. But you know, I was getting hungry. It's getting to the end
We
of
have a
the
meal
day,
here. We're on 6.
and I said, "Shoot, let's go to the chocolate factory before supper."
Between 6:30 and 8.
Of course, I
Life is
love
good.
chocolate. So So, and I told Sheila, please don't touch anything. There's antiques and things all over the place here. You know, so we were, now we
It shows it being up here a little more. Wow, this is a different kind of place.
And other things. And we rode back at night, which, you know, they say don't do in all of this, but it was fine. It was raining out. I left that out. Did a ride home on the road. It was raining pretty hard. You couldn't see. We made our way at night, and you're always anticipating, what am I going to see up ahead in the lights? It was pretty wild. You know, it was so full of chocolate, dinner served. But I was still hungry and really ate a good meal. This was quite the place. Yeah, we just tried to find a safe place to park the bike. Off to the side, you never know. I didn't want it to tip over the soft ground. We settled in for the night. For day 2 to come along. And we were tired. Sleeping at altitude is different, you know, you're dealing with headaches. I took aspirin and a little ibuprofen. Well, this was our first day as a couple on our solo motorcycle ride. And we had anticipations, but they all went away quickly once we started riding. The rental company, they're pros. They know what they're doing. The ride they put us on, 7 days that we selected, and they slightly modified for more dual sport. I could see right away it's going to be outstanding. Bike setup, it was a almost brand new BMW F850. It's a good bike for this. Dirt road, windy roads. Suspension was really well set up, you know, it's adjustable. And my wife had a very comfortable ride on the back, even in washboard dirt roads. She couldn't believe how smooth of a ride it was. I had no problems with the forks diving, and we had to do some real hard braking at speed. The bike handled very well. I wasn't so hip on the rattly engine, and I saw I realized right away first gear's geared way too high. You got to take one tooth, maybe even 2 teeth off the countershaft sprocket to make first gear usable to lug through, you know, the dirt road conditions and sand and whatever, to being able to cruise in high gear. You got to remember, at altitude, you do lose a lot of horsepower. So you got to let the engine turn up a little bit, and she does pretty well. The handling was neutral, nice. I enjoyed it the first day anyway so far. The Conti TKC 70 tires are just totally outstanding. With the rain grip rubber, the rubber technology is way ahead of anybody else that I can think of. When it started raining pretty good on the asphalt roads, it felt so reassuring. You really were planted on the street. I could still lean pretty well. It felt very confident. No slippage whatsoever. Even on the dirtier roads, it was fine. On the dirt roads, where there's a lot of rock that's embedded, it's almost like you're riding on cobblestone. They're slippery rocks, but the tires performed admirably. I mean, I had no trouble whatsoever. I did avoid sharp rocks in some of the rough areas so you don't puncture a tire or bruise a tire. You have to do that. I avoided rocks and potholes at all costs. And I just can't say enough about the tires. They're way ahead of everybody. Although you know, my experience on road bikes goes back a few years. It's still, and I don't have a lot of different tires I've ridden on, except stock tires on like Africa Twin and a BMW and my Suzuki B Strong. My Ducati had good tires, my 1100S Monster, but these tires are really sticky. Um, the conditions that you're riding in Ecuador are really good. The weather is changing. You know, when you're down lower in altitudes, it's hot. When you get up in the altitudes, there's 2 degrees per 1,000 feet. So it gets cold when you get up to 10,000 feet. The rain is cold. So you got to dress for it. And if you do, it's really enjoyable. It's a blast. The rain doesn't bother you at all. We really enjoyed it. It was great. It would rain and stop, and it was fresh air and beautiful. So you have to be prepared for this ride. Definitely have to be prepared. We used climb gear. I bought the top of the line Badlands Pro, I think it was, and it's outstanding gear. It's worth the money. The hostel that we stayed at was just unbelievably. It was beautiful. It seemed to be old, very well kept. I don't know how old, but it was very well kept. They had hiking trails all over the place that we found the next day, and even that evening, and wildlife everywhere. So it was really cool. Going into town to the chocolate factory was really something. The guy that gave us the tour gave us quite a show, and we laughed. We had such a good time. And there were some other folks there from England and I think Germany and Canada and America, probably 8 other people, and we just had a wonderful time with this gentleman looking at the chocolate factory and other things that are on the farm. Riding back at night was interesting, going down the dirt road at night, just wondering what's going to jump out in front of you. But it was good. The lighting on the BMW was good. So, you know, all in all, it was great. We had a great dinner. You tip the help a little bit, and it makes a big difference. They really appreciate it. And they gave me, I think, 3 different kinds of fruit drinks, you know. They were really accommodating. They're great. They treated you just awesome. Very friendly, nice people. And we had a good night's sleep, and I'm going to do a couple more episodes on our 7-day ride. And so far, man, it's just a go for it. Save up some money and go for it. You got to remember too, this company is very reasonable, easy to get along with, and their prices they can't be beat. So I'll be making a new video coming up for day 2 shortly. We'll see you.